Hi, I'm Katy Simon, Washoe County Manager, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Washoe County's 2012 State of the County program. We'll take this opportunity to share with our residents and our employees how Washoe County government is changing to help serve you better. We'll look at the challenges we faced over 4 years of deep budget cuts, and we'll look at some of the innovative changes we've made to save taxpayer dollars and serve you better in the year ahead. Many people may not realize just how far-reaching the services are that they receive from Washoe County. We have state-mandated services that include our Sheriff's Office, District Attorney, social services like child protection and support to needy families and the homeless, district and justice courts, and register our voters, just to name a few. Our regional services include our library system, regional parks and open space, district health department, senior services, juvenile services, regional animal services, and many others. And finally, Washoe County also provides community services like fire protection, sheriff patrol, community parks and recreation, water and sewer utilities, road maintenance and snow removal, business licensing, building permits, and more. I'm proud to be part of your Washoe County government, and I look forward to sharing with you our accomplishments and our challenges for the year ahead.
Welcome back to Washoe County's 2012 State of the County. I'm Community Relations Manager Nancy Lewinhagen, and here with me are Washoe County Chairman Bob Larkin and Washoe County Manager Katy Simon. Thank you both for joining me.
Nice to see you.
Bob Larkin was first elected to the Washoe County Commission in 2005 and began serving his most recent 4-year term in 2009. He's currently serving as chairman of the board. He's previously served as chair and vice chairman. Dr. Larkin is a fifth-generation Nevadan and currently serves as the campus director for the Reno campus of the University of Phoenix. And Katy Simon has served as the Washoe County manager since 1998. She is the longest-serving county or city manager still serving in Nevada. She's the chief executive of this organization with about 2,500 employees and a total budget of more than $670 million. So both of you have a lot going on.
We do.
That's why we're here today. Let's begin with a look back at the last year, which will most likely go down as one of the most challenging for the county in recent history, including the air races crash in September, the Collin fire in November, and most recently the Washoe fire. All of this has been occurring against the backdrop of continued economic decline. And Bob, we're going to talk with you first. Can you talk about the challenges our community faces when it comes to the repeated responses of these events?
Well, there's no doubt this last year, particularly 6-7 months, has been extremely challenging, but it's not without challenge in the past. This community has survived a number of fires as well as a plane crash, a severe plane crash back in the 80s. So it's not without some merit that we go forward and look at these things and we say to ourselves, wow, what happened? But the community is so responsive, it is so resilient that we bounce back. We do. We've just got great citizens, we've got great responders, we have phenomenal command structure in Washoe County for a town of this size. So it has had some impacts. You can't take 2 major wildland fires in the middle of the winter and not have some significant impacts to the community, as well as to the emotional stress that happens with our first responders. We've seen some of that, and we're dealing with that, we're addressing that, but I think mostly what we have to reflect upon is where do we want to go from here? We've learned some things, and we're going to take those lessons that we've learned and we're going to apply them into the future and make some corrections in how we do things and how we allocate some of our resources.
So, Katy, we'll go to you, and I want to hear about how the responses impacted Washoe County government.
Well, lots of folks don't know many ways that the county participates in a first response and in the ongoing response to some of these emergencies. Not only did the county respond immediately for air races crash and also to the Churchill County train wreck and to the fires that we've had, but we have an ongoing response, particularly with regard to emergency management, disaster recovery. Certainly with the air races crash, one of the very important efforts was our medical examiner coroner's office that had to really use forensic science and pathology to understand what had happened to people, who had been affected, who the deceased were, and make sure that notifications were made to folks. With the fires, we've also, of course, established Small Business Administration staffing to make sure that the residents are helped. We have case management going for every single one of the 29 affected property owners in the Washoe fire, making sure that we're addressing all of their needs, whether it has to do with their animal rescue, whether it has to do with recovering their documents, their birth and death records, their marriage licenses, all of the things that a family needs. And Washoe County has been part of that response and part of that recovery.
And I think that's what people forget, or maybe just don't remember, how many lives we touch, and the county responds in this type of situation.
Absolutely. Not only, of course, do we have 2 fire districts, but we also have the medical examiner coroner, we have social services, we have animal services, we have emergency management for the entire region, health department, birth and death records, etc. So very important role for people who've been affected by a disaster.
Disaster in general. We keep hearing about the recent budget cuts from the past year, but actually the county budget has been on the receiving end of cutbacks for the past 5 years. Where did you look for those cuts? And Manager Simon, we'll go back to you. This past year, where did you look for those?
Well, interestingly, it's been a very challenging 4 years. Of course, about $155 million in expenditure reductions we've made from where we were 4 or 5 years ago. We had 26% more money in our budget 4 years ago. Very dramatic cuts. And so we have done prioritized cuts. We listened to the public, and we established a ranking that made sure that public safety was our first priority, then our judicial and social services, next the general government functions that serve everyone, and of course parks and libraries unfortunately have been hardest hit. We have, however, watched the prioritization work the way the public wanted us to. Public safety, for example, has gone from 30.5% of our budget to almost 38% of our budget. So even though we have a shrinking pie, the board has elected to focus on our core resources. We have been very innovative with a lot of things we've done. One of the statistics that I point to, we've had a 6% increase in just 1 year in child abuse and neglect reports. But we've paired that with some very, very aggressive interventions with families early in the process of a report. So while we've had a 6% increase in reports of abuse and neglect, our child welfare staff has been able to reduce the number of children in foster care by 40% over the last couple of years. They get in early, work with family members, relatives, caregivers to keep a child or children in their home. It's been a dramatic effort and very innovative. And part of what we've done countywide, which is a fundamental review of everything that we do. We've looked top to bottom at every department, 64 recommendations under the direction of a private sector CEO's committee, and about 1,800 employee suggestions that we're working on implementing.
So you're seeing progress despite the cutbacks.
Absolutely.
Chairman Larkin, what do you think some of the biggest challenges were from all of this process?
Well, certainly over the last decade, it's been an interesting experience. I've been in either federal, state, or local government service for over 30 years now, and this last 5 years has been the most challenging I've ever seen. And principally, it's been in the policy-making concerns, where you have citizens that are competing for various services, and we have to match those up with the resources that are available. Boards of throughout the state, commissioners have lots of discretion in how they allocate those budgets, but we have to be responsive to our citizens that need those services and balancing those services. So that's a double-edged sword, because as we balance those services, in other areas we don't need as many resources that we've had in the past. And so we get into a situation where we have to reduce ranks in those, and that just compounds to an already declining economic situation, which nobody wants to do, but we have to make those balances. I think we've been fairly successful at that with the courage of our county manager, and I say courage because to take an organization that in 2005 had some 3,200 employees to an organization that now has 2,500, that is a huge change in personnel. It has some devastating effects, of course, on those that are affected, but those that remain, it has a devastating effect on them as well, because they see many of their friends that have left, or many of their acquaintances or colleagues. It can be a very, very trying period of time. That, to me, has been one of the hardest, is watching the effect on upper management and employees as we struggle through this. So from a policy standpoint, it's balancing those resources. From a human standpoint, it's watching the effect that that is having on all of us, not just on those that are directly affected. It's been a very challenging 5 years.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to shift our discussion just a bit here. One of the questions on a lot of citizens' minds right now is the regionalization of fire services. So let's talk about the county's vision for fire services. And Chairman, I'm going to go back to you for this one.
Thank you. This is a topic that's been with me since the Little Valley and Zalesi Lane fires back in 1981, where we had many, many different organizations running on different frequencies. We had a calamity. We had some very interesting effects that occurred, and at that particular time many folks thought, you know, we need to consolidate, we need to have some regionalization in services. So it started. Then in 1998, 1997, then the Board of County Commissioners entered into an agreement with the City of Reno to collaborate on fire services, with the ultimate disposition being a regional fire service. That, however, stalled out over the course of the last 10 years for a variety of reasons. But never with the loss of the vision of having a regional fire service, a fire management authority, as it were, that would govern over all the consolidated fire departments, because the team that trains together stays together. And we've seen incredible efficiencies throughout the region. These two recent fires we had would have been even more devastating than they were if we hadn't had teams together that had trained over the course of the last decade. Stay together and train very, very well. But where we need to go with this regionalization is we need to get back on track with it. That was the original vision over the course of the last 3 decades, and have a singular body that all fire agencies, all fire personnel report to in one structure, and so that we don't have splintered responses in different neighborhoods. We don't have situations where perhaps we'll have a fire engine roll up and not want to cross a boundary of some sort. We've eliminated most of those, but we need to go the next step, and we need to finalize the consolidation into one agency. I
think it's really important that you bring that up, because I think people don't realize how long this has been in the works. You guys have been talking about this for a long time.
Long time. A lot of people that even go back to the 70s that have talked about this. And I think the timing is right. The economic situations that we find ourselves in, of course, have driven many more consolidations than were probably foreseen. But right now is the right time to do this. And the Board of County Commissioners have taken that initial step. And the reason why we've taken that initial step is out of necessity, because in other agencies in the region, their budgets, such as Truckee Meadows, are not tied to property, they're tied to sales taxes. And the biggest single area that has taken the biggest decrease has been in property taxes. We still continue to see that in the Truckee Meadows as well as Sierra Fire. So we're taking the initial step of moving forward with consolidation with Truckee Meadows and Sierra Fire.
So, Manager Simon, I'm going to ask you, what would have happened to Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District had the county not taken this action that we're talking about?
Well, both the Truckee Meadows District and the Sierra Fire Protection District are separate freestanding governments. Not everyone realizes that they are not just part of the county. They are separate, independent governments. They are governed by the Board of Fire Commissioners, which is the Board of County Commissioners. But they only have the revenues that they have within those district budgets. So had we not done the consolidation of Truckee Meadows and Sierra and the separation from the City of Reno, Truckee Meadows could have been bankrupt within a couple of years. As Commissioner Larkin has indicated, we've had revenue reductions in both of those areas. Property taxes continue to decline into the coming year. The 12-13 fiscal year will still see declines in property taxes, and that is not sustainable. What the Board of County Commissioners, Board of Fire Commissioners has said is, we want a regional fire service, and we want a fire service that is sustainable. And our fire services, without restructuring, would not have been sustainable under the existing conditions.
And that's where we move forward to. All right. Well, thank you both. We're going to stick around for a little bit. When we come back a little later in the program, you're going to hear from Chairman Larkin and Manager Simon on what the future holds for Washoe County. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What if there were no volunteers to help Washoe County Regional Parks and Open Space keep our parks, trails, and gardens open? Fortunately, Washoe County has volunteers and sponsors dedicated in keeping our parks open. I'm Bill Carlos, horticulturist for Washoe County Regional Parks and Open Space at the May Arboretum. I'm asking you to help us preserve our parks, our trails, and our gardens. So please join us.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Weber, Vice Chairman of the Washoe County Commission representing District 5, which is the largest physical district in the county and includes incorporated portions of Reno and Sparks, as well as Mogul and Verde on the west, Sun Valley on the northeast, the North Valleys to the California border, and Gerlach to the Oregon border, with Warm Springs being a new area added to the district in January of this year. I've been the president of the Truckee Meadows Law Enforcement Chaplaincy Program, and public safety is one of my top priorities. The Washoe County Sheriff's Office serves as the model for law enforcement agencies nationwide. The unique strategic planning culture they have created allows us to provide our community with the highest level of service, even under increasingly limited resources. Here's Under Sheriff Todd Vinger, who will share more information on current state of the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, I'm Todd Vinger, the Under Sheriff, Washoe County Sheriff's Office. Here at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, we are committed to providing the highest quality law enforcement service possible to the residents and visitors of Washoe County. Our responsibilities include hundreds of law enforcement services mandated by the Nevada revised statutes. These include crime prevention, criminal investigations, apprehension and detention of criminals, recovery of stolen property, traffic enforcement, service of civil documents, bailiffs for the district courts, search and rescue, and the Northern Nevada Counterterrorism Center. Although our mandates haven't changed over the past 3 years, our funding has. In just 3 years, the Sheriff's Office has needed to make more than $30 million in reductions, which included the elimination of 141 staff positions. Despite aggressive budget reductions, your Washoe County Sheriff's Office is still known as one of the most innovative law enforcement agencies in the nation. These are challenging times, and we have undergone tremendous changes. I'm often asked how we are able to meet these increasing service demands with such limited resources. To do so, the Sheriff's Office has incorporated an agency-wide culture of strategic innovation. We reinvented the way we operate at every level. We have adopted successful business principles to improve operations. These include implementing multiple strategic management and planning practices aimed at lowering crime, along with sustainable services that ensure that every one of your tax dollars is spent wisely. Data and statistics play an important role in helping us to carry out that mission. Each week, Sheriff's Office staff updates and shares information on important crime trends in our community through our Area Crime Evaluation System, or ACES. ACES ensures that we are making informed decisions about how to best deploy our limited resources. The information allows us to develop strategies and tactics that solve problems, reduce crime, and ultimately improve our community's quality of life. Additionally, we created Research and Development Unit to support efforts that make our community safer, increase productivity, and increase our fiscal efficiencies through technology, critical problem solving, and collaboration. As a result, we are blazing new trails in our profession by testing and adopting new technologies such as Alert ID. For over a year, Alert ID worked with our research and development team to create a two-way communication platform that would allow residents to get access to up-to-the-minute information on crime, natural disasters, local sex offenders, and emergency alerts in their neighborhoods. The goal of the program is to inform, empower, and educate the public, and this formula has been highly successful. Alert ID system is not just limited to reporting crime. It is also used by the Sheriff's Office during severe weather and natural disasters, like the recent Washoe fire, where we used the system to notify residents in the affected area that they were being evacuated and to direct them to their designated evacuation center. We were the beta test site for the state-of-the-art web visitation system known as iWeb Visit. Through iWeb, visitors are able to hold a two-way video visit with an inmate that's currently housed in the Washoe County Detention Facility by using their home or library computer equipped with high-speed internet and a webcam. The inmate web visit system allows us to reduce the amount of foot traffic that come into the jail, as visitors and attorneys are now opting for web-based visitation instead of personal visits. We were able to reduce the overhead by reallocating our reduced staff to other duties. We developed a streamlined online reporting system. By going to our website, residents can immediately and conveniently file a report from their home, work, or anywhere with internet access. After completing the online form, they are given an incident number and are able to print the report for their own records. Reports are then immediately reviewed and assigned by priority for investigation. This system has allowed us to increase services and reduce physical calls for service at the same time. Actively communicating with our citizens provides us the much-needed opportunity to hear the needs of the residents and is therefore an essential part of our business model. Information is power, and empowering the public is what public safety is all about. That's why a year ago we combined staff from various locations to form a community relations section designed to communicate, collaborate, and work with our community to hear their concerns, answer their questions, and provide relevant and timely crime prevention information. Community Relations monitors emerging trends and works creatively with community partners, citizens, and the media to mobilize efforts and resources to better protect and inform our community. Community Relations also broadens the scope of our outreach efforts on crime prevention by exploring new ways to protect and enhance the lives of the Washoe County residents. Making a difference in our community starts with our community. We are sharing the responsibility of making Washoe County safer by partnering with our fellow public safety agencies and other community stakeholders, linking prevention and enforcement efforts more closely together. Our success in creating a lean but effective operation could never be realized without the incredible work of our Citizens Corps, Search and Rescue, and Deputy Reserve volunteer forces. Our volunteer teams have donated well over 25,000 hours of personal time, which contributed to well over $780,000 in savings to the citizens of Washoe County. After spending untold hours training, our teams provided vital public safety services such as search and rescue, security, crowd control, evacuations, animal evacuations, emergency operations center support, and so much more. Our volunteer teams provided the community with 38 child safety and child ID events to keep our children safe at home, on the street, and on the internet. They performed vital services in times when Washoe County needed them the most. During the Reno air races, the Collin Fire, Washoe Fire, just to name a few. They walked door to door in neighborhoods affected by crime to offer information on how to keep you safe. They support our graffiti task force in helping to target and abate graffiti. These mothers, fathers, businessmen, and women significantly impact our public safety efforts to better protect our community. Operationally, we have carefully reviewed all aspects of our operation and even privatized some services that provide cost savings without compromising safety. We are financially lean and adopting successful business principles to improve operations. This cultural change with our organization has allowed us to give our citizens core mandated services at a reduced cost, covering the gaps in our community's lost resources. Your safety is our greatest concern, and in the years ahead, we will remain committed to bringing you the highest level of public safety we can within the resources entrusted to us. Thank you.
I got it. I didn't get it.
I got it. I didn't get it.
We got it. We didn't get it.
I got it. I didn't get it.
Flu viruses can change every year, and new strains of flu like the H1N1 virus may develop. So everyone should get a flu shot annually. Get it, so you don't get it. The flu vaccine is available now.
I didn't get it. I got it.
Hi, I'm John Bredenitz, and I'm Commissioner for District 1. District 1 is generally the west part of Reno, from the Mount Rose Highway to North McCarran and going over the hill to Incline Village and Crystal Bay. I'm proud of the quality of life this region offers its residents and visitors, and believe that a dynamic business climate and an enviable quality of life go hand in hand. In this next segment, you're going to learn more about how Washoe County consolidated 5 departments into one over the past year, with the goal of improving our services to our citizens and business people alike, both which are vital to the economic development of our region.
One of the most significant organizational changes we've made this year is to combine 5 departments into a new Community Services Department. By doing so, we expect to save taxpayers almost $1 million a year. We'll be combining the departments of Building and Safety, Community Development, Public Works, Water Resources, and Regional Parks and Open Space into one unit. In that way, we can streamline our business processes, and we can provide services even more efficiently by cross-training employees to provide multiple services. By doing this, we hope to ensure the continued prosperity of our region through economic development and growth. That's what brings us out to Spanish Springs today, and I'm excited to introduce you to Jesse Haw, local developer, president of Hawco Properties, and Jesse serves on our Private Sector Organizational Effectiveness Committee. Welcome, Jesse.
Thank you.
We're here today to talk about some of the economic recovery that's going on, and as you see behind us, Jesse's part of that economic recovery. What do you see for our region in economic development in the year ahead, Jesse?
Well, I kind of view the market in 4 different categories: industrial, commercial, residential, and office. Industrial, I'm really excited about what's coming. We have a lot of companies looking at the area, a lot of companies expanding in the area. If you just look back 24 months ago, we had 6 buildings over 500,000 square feet that were vacant. Now they've all been taken up.
Wow.
All the new industrial buildings are going to be build-to-suits. We have a lot of companies excited about coming, and just the activity we're seeing right now is light years from where we were. Commercial is probably going to be flat. Commercial tends to follow rooftops, so commercial is going to be flat. Office, we had a 2nd consecutive year of positive absorption, so we're going to see, I think that's going to continue. And residential, as you can see, we're building houses again, we're selling houses again, people can get financing again. It's an exciting time. And residential, it's not going to be leaps and bounds, but we're going to see some steady, continued improvement in the residential side, and that's going to get a lot more jobs going as well.
Great. Tell us how Washoe County government has helped you.
It's a great dynamic, especially when I work with companies that are coming to Nevada from California. Their experience in California is a stark contrast to what we see here, because when roadblocks come along or when things are hard, these different companies can talk to elected officials, figure out another way around problems, or just have the opportunity to talk to them, makes them feel better, makes them feel like that Reno Sparks wants these people here, and the companies love that. So that's been a really positive thing and really exciting to work with the county on.
Great. And how about, tell us a little bit, you've worked with us for a long time on our Organization Effectiveness Committee, and as well as a customer. What have you learned about Washoe County government?
Well, probably more than I wanted to know, but it's been amazing. There are so many things going on with the county. It is so complex. There's so many departments, unfunded mandates from the state that the county has to pick up, working with the homeless people, working with all these different variety of tasks. And I'm really impressed with the employees themselves. Professionals, they work hard, they want to do a good job for the public. So it's been great and a real eye-opener.
Thank you, Jesse. Great to have you out here on a beautiful Washoe County day. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Mike Haley. I want to tell the residents of Washoe County that graffiti is vandalism. Graffiti is not a victimless crime. Graffiti needs to be reported to the Washoe County Sheriff's Office Graffiti Task Force immediately by calling 328-6361. Don't give these vandals an opportunity to deface our community.
Hi. I'm Washoe County Commissioner Katy Simon, representing District 3, which includes Central Reno, Sparks to the east, and the south of the city center, and the majority of Sun Valley, as well as the University District. In addition to the many boards that I serve on, I am proud to be the Commissioner Liaison with the Library Board of Trustees. During the past year in Washoe County, many successful programs have been implemented despite our budget challenges. Innovative ideas are the key to our future, and in this next segment, you will meet some county employees who took a cost savings idea right to the public by developing self-service kiosks that are now in operation at 4 of our library branches and being used by our citizens. By next year, they plan to add 22 more throughout the Washoe County library system.
We're at the Spanish Springs branch of the Washoe County Library Systems, and we're going to tell you about the self-service kiosk project, how it was developed, how it's saving the library money, and how eventually this kiosk project that you see behind me is going to be rolled out and used throughout the county. Here with me now are Nancy Keener and Todd Goatley from the Washoe County Library Systems. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very excited to talk about this project. And Nancy, I'm going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about the creation of this kiosk and why it was developed.
It was developed in response to the request by the county to find more sustainable business practices. We have currently 13 self-checks that are purchased through a vendor. They cost upward to $20,000 to purchase and $1,800 a year in maintenance for each item. They're proprietary. We have to have a serviceman come to make any minor changes on them, and it was just too expensive. And we see the need for more as we go forward. So we identified an open source software and worked with the county and other county departments to get this going, and for $2,000 we have been able to produce the same machine.
Fantastic. Todd, I want to hear a little bit more about the collaboration between the library system and technology services to develop this software.
Oh yeah, it's been incredible. You know, actually we can even step back further than that. The County Commission actually sort of enlisted us to go ahead and find new technologies. And with the support of Katy Simon, who's been very enthusiastic and extremely gracious and helpful with us pursuing this. Corey Casaza, the gentleman in charge of IT, he has backed us with purchasing different equipment that we needed, has enabled us to be able to pursue this and bring it to completion to a project now that we're very proud of. With the cost savings that we'll have for the community, it's going to be absolutely a windfall for both the library and the community. We have more money now that we can allot to our collection, and I think that's what everybody wants.
And you already have people using it, of course,
absolutely.
at the 5
and they're very
branches.
excited. They get to come in, I get to pitch them on it and sell them, and they get pretty lit up, when they find out the changes that we're making with the free software that we're we're finding that we can utilize and the minimal costs that we have going forward, it's very easy to get them inspired.
So tell me how these kiosks are going to be used throughout the county then.
Well, our vision is in hopes that the rest of the departments will start to see, given the fact that we have this technology, maybe they're going to be able to jump on board as well. You know, we envision different departments maybe being able to join us where somebody can come in if they're located at a distance from Washoe County Complex. Instead of having to go all the way down to the complex, they can actually go to the library, which at that point becomes more of a resource center instead of just a library. And they can accomplish their county business here. So anything from health department or, you know, I mean, maybe the courts. There might be other departments too that can jump on board. We have some interest, and it's just a matter of talking to these department heads and the people that they appoint to work with us so we can start moving forward with it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Nancy, tell me about some of the other projects the library is working on in lieu of limited resources.
The library has just instituted last month a new circulation system. It's called Koha. It's open source. We pay a vendor about a quarter of what we were paying previously to support it for us. It's worked great from day one. We had customers call us and be excited about the catalog and what they can do with it. We have increased our internet workstation offerings by 80 machines by using retread computers that we put Linux on. And you'll find those throughout the libraries. That gave us 80 more seats that we could offer the public to use internet. We're looking at some other software to work with the self-service kiosks and our library system that we hope to pull out later on.
Nancy, I want to follow up on something you just said about open source. Can you tell me, give me an example of what an open source is?
Open source is the software we use for our circulation system and for our self-checks. It's been collaboratively put together and it's offered free to the community. We don't pay for it, but we're free to change it. We're free to make improvements on it and offer it back.
Thank you. Thank you both very much for showing us a great example of how innovation is saving the library money and eventually the county money and being enjoyed by our citizens and using it. Thank you both so very much for joining me today. Sure. And we will be right back after this.
Hi there, I'm Amy Harvey, your Washoe County Clerk, and I'd like to take just a minute to explain to you a program that we've developed in the County Clerk's office for the citizens of our community. During any emergency, the need for an evacuation plan is essential, which is why the Clerk's office has created a grab-and-go records program. This step-by-step guide will help you prepare one of the most overlooked possessions during an emergency, and that's your personal records. These are the records that protect your family's health, identity, and financial resources. Whether they are deeds to property, insurance documents, identification documents, or just family photos, the need for proper planning to ensure the safety of these documents is imperative. For more information on our Grab and Go program, please contact the Washoe County Clerk's office on the Washoe County website or call 775-328-3266. Thank you, and be safe and be ready.
Hi, I'm Washoe County Commissioner David Humke. I represent District 2, which includes the Truckee Meadows area south of I-80, down to the Welcome to Carson City sign in Washoe Valley, and east to the Story County line and west up to the Mount Rose Ski Resort. I serve on the Criminal Justice Advisory Committee, have an extensive history with children and family courts, and I'm a longtime advocate for children's rights and preventative services in the county and the community as a whole. It's been an honor and pleasure to work with our staff in social services. The department overall, like most, has seen a decrease in funding resulting in reorganization of existing staff and shifts, all while maintaining excellent service levels. You're about to meet the Director of Social Services, who will explain how some major innovative efforts are keeping families together and saving taxpayers' dollars.
Welcome back. We're at the Kids Cottage today, and this is a place where police or social workers bring kids who have been abused or neglected by their families for protection. And I've got with me today the Director of Social Services, Kevin Schiller. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
It's going to be a little noisy because we have kids in the background. There's a lot of energy here, and this is actually a very wonderful, wonderful place. I want you to tell me a little bit more about this place and foster care in general in Washoe County.
You're here at the Kids Cottage, and the Kids Cottage functions as an emergency shelter, as you said, for kids that are abused and neglected. It serves children ages 0 to 18. It typically serves children as they initially come into the system. It used to be more of the protective shelter for all children. It has kind of moved into being a placement for children where we have large sibling groups or where we have children that have behavioral issues and have difficulties. And so what happens is social workers and police officers bring the children here after the social worker has kind of screened the family, and it's part of our larger foster care system where we have placements throughout the community where we try to place children in close proximity to their school and in their neighborhoods to try to keep them safe.
Tell me some of the places where Washoe County is the leader when it comes to this type of thing, keeping families and keeping children better protected.
Well, the system used to be really geared towards reacting to incidents. That still, of course, occurs, but what we've done is really been proactive in how we intervene with families. So we have lower risk investigations that may be done by the Children's Cabinet or a Family Resource Center, and we try to get in there where they're low risk and try to intervene, provide services to prevent them from removal. Then when we get into actually removing children or getting into those higher level investigations, what we do is we do a really comprehensive assessment with those families to try to see if we can get those children placed with relatives, try to infuse services into the home so that we can keep the children safe in the home. One of the key areas around that is that foster care is very expensive. It costs about $900 per child when we place a child into care. And what's really evolved with our system in Washoe County is we've really moved towards intervening with those families, providing help, utilizing the family and the resources to keep the children safe, to reduce our foster care rate.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up because your Department of Social Services has seen a 6% increase in reports, yet your placement of kids in foster care has actually gone down. So tell me how that happens.
And we've seen kind of a reduction in that, even though the reports are higher, we've seen a reduction in the foster care placements primarily around the fact of how we're intervening with families. So if you go back 4 years ago, we had a significantly higher population of foster children, over 1,000 kids. We're down close to about 600 on average now. That's really been about how we intervene with the family, how we provide those services, and ultimately keep them safe. We actually were one of 6 jurisdictions selected for a grant through the Administration of Children, Youth, and Families over 5 years. And what that's going to do is really take that practice that I'm talking about in terms of how we intervene and help families to a whole nother level. We're in year 2 of that now, so that's really going to be about how we sustain and keep children out of care, and then those children that are in care, how do we get them out of care faster?
So that's that $12 million grant you were telling me about. That's a big deal to get that grant.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, and it's actually it's really gone from taking our practice where we've improved it to a base level and really multiplying it times 10 in terms of how we intervene with families, how we assess families, and how it's really about how we engage in families and help them in the process of change to keep kids home.
Well, and that was going to be my next question. How are you going to keep the lower numbers in foster care, which hopefully with things like the grant, is that what you're
it's all about an evolution of practice. We started our practice changes about 3 or 4 years ago, started with what's called family solutions teams, where we basically intervene with a family and we bring the family together in a room with independent facilitators to help problem solve how do we keep these children safe. And so I believe that's part of why we were selected for the grant, and then the grant is really going to push that process even higher in terms of how do we engage further. And it really has implications to be a national model as it's developed further.
Well, before we let you go, I want to look ahead just a little bit to the next legislative session and what's to come for your department and what you've got going on.
Well, I think there's probably two primary areas to focus on. One is the fact that as the economy continues to struggle, what happens is we're seeing an influx of referrals, as you talked about, increased reports of families that may be struggling that weren't struggling 5 years ago. So housing is becoming a significant component. How does food, shelter, those basic needs of kids get met when people are unemployed, and how do they get services? So we've seen an increase in our services. The other component of that with the legislative body is there's funding, obviously, that's being reduced, both to community providers and also can impact directly to the department. So as that occurs, what we have to do is essentially reorganize our staffing, look at how, as we've talked about, continue to change our practice so that we can keep those numbers lower, but ultimately it's all about keeping children safe and doing what's best for kids and families. We don't have the ability to not serve kids and families. So the more we focus on the prevention and the diversion, the better off we are as we face those legislative challenges that are coming.
Kevin, tell me a little bit how the Reno Rodeo Foundation is a community partner for you.
Actually, the Rodeo Foundation over the last several years is a significant partner for children in foster care. They do the Denim Drive, which kind of culminates towards the end of November into Christmas, and what it does is basically provide jeans and clothing for all the kids that come into foster care. So as you might guess, they come into care many times with only what's on their backs. It's very traumatic. So this has really evolved into a huge funding event for all kids in foster care, not just children that are here at the Kids Cottage. And then they also helped us build significantly the activity center, which is housed here on the campus, which provides both educational opportunities for kids and allows them, on days like today where the weather is very bad, to be like kids. They get to play basketball, they get to be involved in activities. So they're one of a major community provider along with the Children's Campus that helps all the kids in foster care.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, explaining more about social services and the Kids Cottage, where there's a lot going on, and it's great to learn about. And we'll be right back after this.
Teenagers in this community need your help.
Wonder if I'll ever get a real family.
All alone, seems like I was once a child.
Every teen deserves a family.
In a while, take a little time, take a little time.
Looks like our cookies are ready. How about taking a break from homework and having
Become a
lunch?
foster family. Call Washoe County Social Services now at 337-4470.
Welcome back to the 2012 State of the County for Washoe County, our final segment. And again, here with me in the studio are Washoe County Chairman Bob Larkin and County Manager Katy Simon. So before we look ahead, and we're going to do that in just a minute, Katy, I'm going to go back to you. Tell me about some of the good news and some of the bad news from the past year at Washoe County.
Well, first the good news, always the good news. We're seeing the economy beginning to recover. This year, 2011, we had a 228% increase in single-family home permits over the year before. It's still not a lot of permits, but it's a huge increase over what we had the year before. About a 19% increase overall in permits, so very, very good news for all of us. We've also seen the county able to purchase more goods and services. Even though we have a declining budget, we spent $11 million more, and 55% of that went to Washoe County vendors, so we're able to put more money into the local economy. On the challenging side, of course, we're watching our infrastructure deteriorate. Over the past couple of years, we've had about a 6% decrease in our pavement condition index, and that's how we measure road surface, rideability, the longevity of our pavement surface. Very tough. We've had a 33% increase in the number of miles that each snowplow operator has to plow per employee. So very, very difficult times for some of our staff members. Of course, library hours of operation has declined 33%. So very, very tough challenges. Our public guardian's office that takes care of wards of the court who are unable to manage their own affairs is only able to get monthly visits to their entire caseload only 70% of the time. So those budget cuts have a dramatic impact on our budget. Sheriff's office now only has fewer than 1 patrol officer per 1,000 population, while the Western regional average for the United States is about 1.7, 1.8 officers per 1,000. So we are challenged to meet the requirements of our community.
Well, and we're going to look ahead just a little bit to 2012 and beyond. So, Chairman Larkin, I'm going to go back to you. What are the goals of the board's strategic plan for the coming year and beyond?
Thank you, Nancy. The Board of County Commissioners actually has 6 strategic goals, and at our retreat last fall, we focused in on a couple of them more specifically so we could give direction to staff so they could stay on track. Predominantly, sustainability still remains a very high priority for the Board of County Commissioners. To get to this sustainable level, as we've mentioned before, we've had to severely restrict the amount of resources we've been able to deploy. Looking forward, we've asked the manager through her department heads to, as well as other elected department heads, to look at their sustainability. What is going to sustain the operation over a longer period of time? There's now significant reports that have indicated that we're going to be in this condition, this economic recovery position, for a number of more years. And so we need to have a longer term strategy on how to deal with the sustainability issue. We are sustained right now, but as we've mentioned before, our property tax values are still decreasing. Many of our services are dependent on that property tax. And as that continues to decline, we still have to make some adjustments into the future. The second strategic area is what can Washoe County do to help in the recovery? That is, what can we do to help create jobs, create the environment that jobs will be created in? And there are a number of initiatives. Of course, the legislature has come out with a economic development plan. We're participating fully with that. And there will be other measures, I'm sure, as we move forward. But we've asked all departments, such as purchasing, to make sure that where we can buy locally, we will buy locally. We'll award contracts locally so we can support local businesses, and hire folks locally so that we maintain that flow into this community. Those are the 2 major areas that the board's really focusing and will continue to have their focus for the remainder of this year and perhaps into 13 and 14 as well.
Good. So I'm going to finish with a question to both of you. And I'll start with you, Manager Simon. What are you most proud of from the past year?
I'm most proud of our employees and how they have come together to serve the public. We continue to have very high citizen satisfaction. I get letters and cards from folks every week complimenting county employees. They have taken several years of pay cuts, more than $10 million of compensation and benefit cuts. Our employees have given back to be able to meet the challenges that we've had. We're grateful for the community support we have and grateful for the thousands of hours of volunteer work that we have provided by the wonderful people of this community.
And Chairman, how about you? What are you most proud of from this past year?
I have to echo what the manager has indicated. It's Washoe County employees, and that includes departmental heads, electeds, managers, and rank and file individuals. It is a stellar operation to watch 2,500 people come together and really perform for the citizens of Washoe County. I can't think of any other major accomplishment in that to display other than that. And to know that the Board of County Commissioners had a small part in that, because it really relies upon management at the top end to implement that. It's that kind of teamship, that kind of leadership that really makes Washoe County still a very desirable place to live, to work, and to play.
Great words to end on. Thank you both so much for joining me today, and thank you for joining us for this year's State of the County. We hope you've learned more about what's going on with your county government and what to expect in the coming year. We would also like to let you know to look for some more department features in the coming months on WCTV, so we can continue to show you the great work that's being done right here by our employees. Stay tuned.